Hey, my fragrance friends. I don't know how long I'm going to be on here today. I'm sorry about being on here late. I actually was charging my phone, believe it or not. Believe it's an excuse or not. Don't believe me, but I actually only got my phone up to about 50%. My phone's getting a little bit, I don't know, older. It doesn't seem to charge or keep the charge as long. And I know that I can get about an hour on 50%. And my phone is fairly modern. I guess I've just ran out the battery of it. Anyways, my friends, hey there, Rich Mitch. Happy to see you. How's it going? How's the fragrance life been going for you? Anything new? Any new fragrances? I have some hauls to do. I don't want to spoil everything, but I did just post it on my Instagram. I recently got Vicanto, my first one, and I'm pretty happy with it. I have it actually on my arm. It was my scent of the day. It's an extrait to parfum, and maybe it's just my nose. I do need to test it some more and see how I feel about it in the air and get, of course, feedback from other people. But it's an extrait to parfum, and I still feel like it's not very strong. I still feel like it's an average performing fragrance, and it feels more of a musk. This one is called Amans from the House of Vicanto, and it's more of their aquatic fragrance, and I do have to say it's a nice one. And I'll do a full length review for y'all, hopefully before it gets to the fall. So, hello, a haul. Have you been buying a lot? Um, I bought a few things here and there. I bought like two fragrances from Fragrance Net, and I think two fragrances I have it showed for y'all in a haul from Fragrance by CA. I bought two of them I think from eBay. So I haven't been on a huge spending spree, but I have bought a fair amount. So I definitely am slowing down. I'm slowing down a little bit, believe it or not. I'm kind of buying the things I really want now. Maybe some of the more expensive things or the unusual things. I'm finally getting to the point where there's a few fragrances that I'm getting. There's less and less fragrances that I know that I want to buy. Of course, there's always new fragrances to try. But as far as things that I actually have to have on my buy list, I don't know. There's probably only I don't know, 20 or maybe 30 on that list I have to buy in the future at some point. And a lot of them are more and more niche because of course I've been buying up all the good designer stuff at least that I want. So I still want to get a Zaro Pour Homme Intense. It sounds like a maybe a slightly boozy, spicier take on the original DNA. And there's a few of them. I've been tempted by Ginger Lover, the new that one's just getting a lot of hype. It's getting a lot of love. So, I received the Kajal Fida sample set today, spicy. I'm in the middle of a massive vintage designer buying spree. Okay, um, what do you consider vintage? Do you mean fragrances that are about to be discontinued or slightly, or do you mean like actually like older fragrances that are hard to find, rare to get? What do you mean by vintage? I don't know if Cartier's Roadster is considered vintage to you, but that's actually two of the fragrances I bought off eBay. I got the Roadster Sport and the regular Roadster from Cartier, and I think they're outstanding fragrances for gentlemen. But again, they're not, I guess, exactly mass appealing, so they didn't get hyped a lot. I don't know about Cartier's distribution either. I don't see them in the average malls, and it's not a brand that seems to be distributed as much as the big name brands like Versace and Dolce & Gabbana and brands like that. My local mall even has Oscar de la Renta fragrances. I think that's what they are. There's like a La Belle, there's a rose one, and then there's a white floral one. So I don't know about Cartier. I don't know if they sell them very often, or their distribution's very wide. I don't know if they sell them everywhere. Roadster is beautiful. That's a fantastic pickup. I think Roadster is really good. It's a really good designer fragrance, and a lot of people say that designers, all of them smell the same and all of them are boring, but it's just like movies. There's a lot of movies that are very, very cliche that follow the same old formulas. They use the same lines, they say the same things, and the same kind of things happen in the movie. And it's because it's people keep going back and buying it. So if they're these companies are going to keep making those blue fragrances or whatever the trend is, the Tonka fragrances, the Ambroxan fragrances, until people get tired of it and people move on. So just vote with your wallet. That's all you can do, and hopefully you'll find creativity here and there. But there's some great creativity if you look at the right places. I think that the Cartier Roadster is great. I've spoken very highly of Givenchy's Azurius Rouge. Very solid. And you can pick, ladies, if you're watching my channel, even some of you guys, you might be comfortable wearing a lot of them. I actually got the Lemon Verde from the Guerlain's Allegoria collection. It doesn't last the longest, but it smells beautiful. And, you can get really good smelling fragrances that are a little bit more unique for a fair price, 40, 50, $60. My channel's always been about that. I've always tried to bring awareness to that. A lot of people, maybe if they're newer into the fragrance game, I don't know if this is everybody, but I kind of felt this way at first. I thought that there were only mass appealing designer fragrances because that's mostly what I saw. And I didn't, at first I didn't know about the cheapies and some of the hidden gems. And then what I saw was all this expensive niche. I saw people talking about the Rojas and all of these Clive Christians and these $500, $400, $500 fragrances, and that's all I thought was out there. But there's so much variety. There's a lot of things, and a lot of people. There's so much out there. They don't even get around to trying all the interesting designer fragrances. There's a lot to explore, but you just have to be willing to look into them, and sometimes you have to be willing to blind buy them because they're just not available. So, um, let's see here. Roadster has been discontinued. Yes, it has. It's getting hard to get. Roadster, and that's one reason I want to mention it. And I did put the word out on my Instagram as well that Roadster is discontinued. It's still somewhat available. It's not completely gone. It's not completely extinct. About I think it was 3 or 4 days ago, there was another batch that popped up on Fragrance by CA, but they often sell out quickly. I haven't seen it available on FragranceNet in a while, so it's getting a little bit more scarce. And it's one of those fragrances again that people have spoken pretty highly about. I mean, it hasn't particularly been hyped or gotten extremely popular, but there are some people who really like it. I don't know how big the cult following is, as they say. I doubt it's anywhere close to Ancre Noir. The cult following behind Ancre Noir, and a few of of the fragrance. It's probably a small group like the people who really like Pour Louis. So, but still, there's enough people out there who know about it and respect the fragrance that once it gets discontinued, it's going to get expensive. And I always like to help y'all find, save a buck and really have a good time with fragrances. So if you're a gentleman out there, if you like mint, if you like the sound of like white patchouli and a little bit more of like a semi-sweet or maybe not particularly sweet vanilla, and a very classy, refined vibe, it's great. It could work at the office. It could work for a first date. I don't think it's particularly the most sensual fragrance, but it could work for a pretty good first impression. I do think it could work for that, and make you smell pretty classy. I got Givenchy Gentleman EDT on Thursday, classic designer. Yeah, you're right, exactly. That one has a lavender vibe, doesn't it? I think I've tried it, but it's been a little while. So yeah. So, have you smelled Rojas Louis? I don't think I've tried that one. I've tried the Pour Louis, but is that by Rojas? I think that's by the Oscar de la Renta, the Pour Louis. But I should try it. There's a lot of them out there. I do try to get my nose on, some vintage stuff here and there. I've tried some of it. I really respect Anateus. Y'all know that I'm a big fan of Platinum Egoist and Eau Sauvage. I've spoken very highly. I own Lalique Pour Homme. I really like that stuff. I own that Givenchy Zurius Rouge. As far as like kind of fougere things, I used to have Kaleidoscope by Daniel Hosier, but I ended up selling it. I just didn't wear it very often, but it's a good fragrance. Um, Another one that's interesting and somewhat wearable, I think, is the Guerlain Homme Parfum. That's a really solid fragrance for that kind of thing as well. So I don't know. There's so many fragrances to explore out there. So there's quite a lot of Louise out there. Oh yeah, you're right. There's a doesn't that mean for him, or wasn't that kind of like a acronym's not the right word, but kind of like slang for like a man or for men? I guess I don't know. Maybe fragrances coming out of Paris for a while. I really don't know all the details on that, but maybe that's something interesting I should look into as well. So. Him. Yes, exactly. I think that it meant him, but I'm not sure if it was French or not. Anyways, There's so many fragrances to explore. I have started to try to appreciate some of the more of the fougères. I can't say that I personally lean towards the oak moss heavy and the dark green scents as much for me personally. But I can say that again, I love something that smells classy. I love something that smells refined and kind of like high end, especially when you can get it on a budget. That Lily Pour Homme for about close to $20 to me is a showstopper for what you can get for $20. It's outrageous. Um, I still think fairly highly of Moschino's or Moschino. I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Umo. That one's really, really nice, but a lot of people think it smells like baby powder, but hey, I like it. Let's see here. Casey says, scent of the day is Montal Oud Damascus. Is that one any good? It looked to me more of just like a rose oud combo, and a lot of people seem to not like that, or they want something extra, something a little bit different than just a rose oud combo, even though it does smell pretty darn good. I do love Damascus Rose. That is my favorite, but I'm kind of I've looked at it and I've been tempted. Some of the Montal fragrances that aren't very popular sometimes can sell for as cheap as like $55 for a full size 100 ml bottle. So there are amazing deals out there if you're willing to look. I got my Amber Fever at the time. The price was, I think, 65 odd dollars. I think I've spoke a little bit about it. And y'all know that, right now with the availability and the shipping of everything in the world, things are selling out. Things are often sold out, and the prices aren't as cheap as they could be or perhaps should be. I was really tempted to buy Hobdon by Parfums de Marly for a while. I really want that fragrance in my collection, but for a while I was seeing it for about 140, and I almost bought it, and I'm gonna wait till it goes down again. But a lot of places these days are wanting as much as $200 for Hobdon, so I'm gonna wait. Cerruti 1881 is fire. That's a solid fragrance. That does a very good job of bringing more of an oak moss feel, in my opinion, an oak moss fragrance, and making it more a little bit of an aquatic. It's almost like if the great grandfather, almost to Aqua di Gio, and I have smelled vintage Aqua di Gio. It what did feel a little bit more oak moss heavy to my nose. So I do think Cerruti 1881 is a solid fragrance, but uh, I don't know if everybody knows about it. If you like the sound of that, so much performance went to the driving range, and then the pool half an hour ago showered and didn't even wear off. Yeah, Montals can be off very potent. You have to be. Some people actually don't like how potent they are. Montals can be a commitment in a bottle. When you spray some of the Montals fragrances on you like that, it can last 10, 12, 14, 16 plus hours. It's really strong. It's really, really potent juice. Yeah, you definitely have to be careful. And if you spray it on a jacket, that jacket might smell like it for weeks. So yeah, those Montals are no joke. Let's see here. Herba Fresca. I've heard about that one. I've been tempted by it, but I looked at all of my choices. I was tempted by Coconut Fizz. I went back and forth between buying Coconut Fizz. And Herba Fresco did look good. I think Robes Await really respects that fragrance, and he seems to truly adore that fragrance. And I went back and forth and was really tempted by it. But I thought about my wants and my needs and what would I want in my collection, and I settled on the Lemon Verde. And for me personally, I know the longevity is not great, but I truly love that fragrance. It's a lime fragrance, but it's not too sharp. I do like the smell of lime, but I don't like how lime can have almost a little bit of a bitterness and a sharpness off the very top of the fragrance. So it's a little bit more soft and well rounded, but it's definitely still has that lime vibe and does a really good job of it. And it ends up being a little bit grassy. Some people say it is a little bit fig-like in the dry down, and it doesn't come off as overtly figgy, but I can see what they're saying. And y'all know that if fig is a component, maybe more of a supporting player. I don't like big fig fragrances that are juicy fig, usually in your face. But if it's more of a supporting note, I can really like a fig fragrance. So Yeah, that's what I went for. But maybe I'll have to get that Herba Fresca one of these days. It does look nice. It really does. And I heard the performance. It's one of the better, maybe the best performer out of the bunch. So I don't know Montal. Will compare to others, but this seems good. It's a heavy Montal scent. Yeah, it's definitely Montals are very strong a lot of the time. Not all of. I mean, I haven't tried every Montal. I'm not the expert, but most of them that I've tried have been fairly potent. I don't know of any one in particular that's weak. At least I can't remember one. I have the Montals I own is Starry Nights and Saffron Oud, and both of them are very potent. They're very strong. They both act differently, but they definitely very concentrated juices. So, I'm picky with Montals. I have sampled a few and they didn't work for me. They definitely are a little bit of a mixed bag because their names are funny. So you might not connect to the fragrance because of the funny name, or you don't think the name really makes sense with the notes and how it smells. You also might think it. Some people think that they're far too strong. Some people want something that smells more natural. There's a number of reasons why some people aren't crazy about Montal. But one of the things I actually learned in regards to Montal, which I found very interesting, is that us as Western consumers have to be very aware, or I guess have a perspective that there's fragrances that come from different places in the world. When Montal is sold to us in the United States, it's a little bit more expensive than what somebody could buy the fragrances more perhaps in the Middle East, or perhaps India could buy Montal for. I've seen where I've talked to people and seen people tell me that to them a Montal, the price wise and availability wise, it's like what they could get at their local mall. They might have to fork out 80 US dollars or 100 US dollars, something like that, but they can get it, and that's not even discounted. That's not even on sale. If they want to get it on sale, they can get it even cheaper. And for us, for the U.S. consumers, if we want to buy one full retail, it's 150 to 180, and if we get it on sale, it's usually close to 80, unless it's not a very popular Montal, and you find it at the right time. You can get some of them lucky. Or actually, right now, some of the Montals, and I'm supposing these companies are hurting for money, and I've seen some of these Montals that aren't very popular. And again, I'm not saying go out there and buy them. I haven't tried them, and some of them are probably a little bit. I don't know, not the most mass appealing or easy to wear, but hey, $55 for a brand new Montal sealed in the 100 mil, 3.4 ounce sealed, in the box is pretty tempting, to me at least. But some of the more popular ones like Chocolate Greedy, they never go super cheap. So let's see here. Do you like any Trussardi? I've tried Trussardi's Rifle So. Back in the day, I bought Trussardi My Land. I don't know if y'all have heard about that fragrance. I that was the only fragrance that I would actually admit to that Jeremy Fragrance convinced me to buy. He described it as similar to C.H. Men by Carolina Herrera, and I kind of liked that fragrance, but I wanted something that was less sweet. And he said how it was like fresher, I think, and maybe it was something about the leather, and I do like leather. So I was hoping for maybe a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe an Ambroxan heavy, leathery CH man with that boozy brown sugar vibe. What I didn't like my land, and I actually sold it, and actually. I don't know how rare it is or how desirable it is, but I actually made a little bit, not an awful lot of money. Well, I only made like, well, after shipping and selling fees, I only made like 10, but I made like $20 off of it. It was slightly used. It smelled kind of aquatic. It had a real weird cologne type of vibe to it. And I usually don't criticize cologne. Y'all know that aquatic fragrances usually aren't my thing. And it's not because of the cologne, which often bothers some people. They say that they can't handle the salt or the seaweed, or it smells like eggs, or some people even say blood. That's not it's just that it's fun. It's nice to be easygoing and carefree sometimes, but I often am in the mood for something really potent with a lot of personality, and or something something seductive or something very classy. But I do have some more aquatics. I'm happy that I got that Vicanto Amans in my collection. I'm happy that I actually have one that's going to work for me. It's not bad. It's not. I don't know what kind of performance I'm going to get out of it though. It doesn't seem very strong to me. Doesn't really doesn't. But I'll have to see if other people can smell it on me. But I'm not really smelling it on me much at all. So I got a compliment from a lady, okay, with Cerruti. Yeah, that fragrance is nice. It is a good, mass appealing type of fragrance. It does smell gentlemanly, but it has that a little bit of that oak moss vibe. That's the best way I would describe it. I don't remember if there's any lavender in Cerruti 1881, but I do think it's nice. Again, I think a lot of the guys, the gentlemen out there, perhaps who like Polo Green, they would find it, and I don't know if they all know about it, but I think they would really like Cerruti 1881 for something that they could go out and about, wear casually. It's still fair. It's pretty darn affordable. You can get it for I think around $30 for a bottle of Cerruti 1881, and it probably will appease them their need for oak moss, and also it is fairly likable to just about everybody. So yeah, it's a solid fragrance. I think my dad still has it in his collection. I've been tempted to buy the black version and blind buy it, but I haven't done that yet. So maybe one of these days I'll get the Cerruti. I think there's a black flanker. So um, Montal Individual arrived, Casey says. It seems light and powdery. I think that Mont Blanc Emblem is better. Same powdery freshness, but more character than Emblem. I could see that. Let's see, Mont Blanc Individual versus what was that, Emblem? Isn't Emblem the one that has the T note? And isn't Individual the one that has like a little bit of amber? It's supposed to be like more of like original Santal by Creed. I think I'm remembering that right. Yeah, Emblem has a little bit more tea, and I do think it smells a little bit better. But I don't. I'm not sure of how it works on your skin. I don't know if Individual has been reformulated again because it actually was fairly popular for a time. I don't know if it's been reformed, but I used to hear people saying that they would get anywhere from 7 to 8 hours, and so, there's always that guy out there who says he gets an extra hour or two than everybody else. So I thought that Individual performed pretty well, but that's interesting. Individual is very loud on me, big clean beast. Yeah, that's what I've heard, and I don't know, maybe there are batch variations or there's a reform. I really don't know. That to me, Individual wasn't for me, and I never bought it. And it was actually I've told y'all this before, but there was a certain fragrance reviewer. He's more of a men's influence kind of guy now. He doesn't really dedicate himself just to fragrance reviews. I won't say who it is. I'm not trying to throw shade on him, but as the lingo goes with the cool kids. But he was trying to convince people that they had to have it in their collection, and it's probably him just trying to be really charismatic and him trying to, really be an influence in the fragrance community. But in one of his videos, he was, saying that you don't have a collection or you don't know fragrances or you don't know what a good fragrance is unless you have that in your collection. And I really don't like when people try to put me in a box or put anybody in a box, stereotype or try to convince you or force you in that way. I think there's some fragrances out there that are better than others. I think there's some fragrances out there, in my humble opinion, that are far better than others, value for money wise. And I do think that's something that I'd really try to focus on, help people save money. But I would never say that, you're getting ripped off if you buy such and such fragrance, or this is the only fragrance you need because it's so cheap and you have to buy it, or, trying to convince you or, telling you what to do with your life. That bothers me. So, but anyways, North American perfume prices are an outrage. Exactly. And I've heard maybe, I don't know how true it is. It's a rumor, but I heard Creed ups the prices for North America. I've heard it's much more affordable in France. And I'm sure that there are imports and duties on imported goods, but I've heard that they intentionally charge the U.S. more for their fragrances. And I'm not sure if that's true, but that kind of soured me a little bit against them as well. And yeah, it seems Americans do get charged a lot for their goods. Or goods. I meant goods from other countries sometimes. So I agree, Casey. Yeah. The more I wear Green Irish Tweed, the more I like it. It wasn't impressed at first, but it's growing on me. It's moving up the list. Yeah, that's a real classic. You know, a lot of people really love that fragrance, and it really works for them. I probably should give it more of a try. I think my dad still has a bottle. I've only had a sample, and I've only worn it a couple times. It's a fine fragrance. It's decent, but maybe like you, it would grow on me, and I would grow to love it a little bit more. But you know, so far, and again, I'm not bashing on Green Irish Tweed. I just don't find it very interesting, and I don't find it particularly special. And I know that's here. I know that's heresy in the fragrance community to a lot of people, and I respect everybody's views. But you know, y- again, you know, we're all different. You know, some fragrance reviewers, some actually who are very respectable, and I respect them, and they might put that at their, you know, at the very top of the list of maybe the best fragrances of all time. And they often, you know, in the past especially hit, you know, top tens, springs, and sometimes summers. You know, the best of the best, hands down. You know, but I don't know. We're all different. I again, I would prefer Green Valley. I think that Green Valley by Creed was much better. And these days, there's 10 a.m. Flirt around. There's all kinds of good stuff around. I mean, wear whatever you want, but uh, I should give it another try, Casey. You're right. I should give it another go. Mont Blanc Individual performs well, longevity and projection. Bury the scent, sort of mellow. But and Emblem is better, similar, but more character. I agree. I do think Emblem has a little bit more something interesting about it. Has something a little bit more likable about it, and I often reach for those kinds of scents. You know, I do like performance, and I do often like perform parfums for that performance. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of that projection for performance, but quality wise, I'm the kind of guy. I mean, again, I do want the performance. I'll get it if I can, but I would rather have something that smells a little bit higher quality over something that, you know, maybe smells a little bit, you know, synthetic, or to get that longevity or something like that. That's what I personally go for. But again, that's one reason I love the coffees and the ouds and the tobaccos. I can get something that to me smells natural or authentic and powerful and strong, and you know, I can get that quality that I like. But we're all different. You know, a lot of one reason maybe with synthetics are played around a lot because a lot of fresher notes. I'm sure that y'all know this. Tend to be some of them, especially the florals, are very very expensive. A lot of people take rose for granted. A lot of people take when they see iris, they take iris for granted. A lot of people when they see jasmine, oh jasmine, and they take that for granted. There's a reason why synthetics, rose, jasmine, iris, and some of the others are you know, they mix and make those accords because the natural absolutes are so ridiculously expensive, unbelievably expensive, and you know, even the high end niche fragrances have very little, if any, of those. You have to have, you know, somebody give you a very expensive fragrance or a custom fragrance, you know, almost to get your hands on a lot, you know, if you want a lot of any of those in high concentration, like Orris butter. Anyways, let's get back to the comments. Casey says, Dunhill Century, not sure what I think performs well, but I need to get used to it. Yeah, sandalwood is not something that everybody's used to. It's different. It is a little bit of a, I don't know, I consider it, it's not overtly creamy, but and how clean it comes off, it could seem a little bit different, but I think you'll grow to like it. It's a very nice, clean smell, and it's something that I would wear more casually. Dunhill Century. It's you could layer it with other scents if you'd like to. It's I really really like it. I think sandalwood is a great note, and that's one of the best values for the money that I suggest out there today. You can get a I think it's a bigger bottle than normal. If I remember right, it's close to a 4.5 ounce, and I got mine for about $30. I don't know if it's still that affordable anymore. I'm one of those guys, if I can find that sweet spot where things are forgotten or underappreciated, and the supply is really high, I'll scoop things up when I can. Again, when I got my Vicanto fragrance, you know, the cheapest I can find it online right now is for about 120. I scooped up my bottle from actually FragranceNet. It was a very reputable sealer. It wasn't somebody who sold me a used or a partial or an opened, brand new, sealed in the bottle, and I swiped it up for about 73 bucks, if I remember right, free shipping. So yeah, it's let's see here. I'll catch up with your comments. XM Davis says, I just ordered one of Masham Raz's from Dua. A new designer release called Encounter Sets in the club. Have you heard of this designer line? Was released today. No, I didn't hear about them. That's exciting. How'd you hear about them? How do you know about them? It's that's exciting. Dua's producing a lot of fragrances. Dua seems to be having a lot of success. I don't know how successful they are, especially in comparison with Alexandra. I really don't know. But they both seem to be doing very well for themselves, and I'm sure that they have a lot of creativity up their sleeve. Again, I don't really speak about those brands too much. I do talk about some Alexandra here and there. I don't know. For me, I maybe I should get into the Dua, but they're 30 mil extract, so I'm sure they're very potent. Maybe they're worth the money. I don't know. But I just have that taste in my mouth because I bought about 12 fragrances from them, samples, in the past, and I really wouldn't buy any of them. And there was about two or three which I thought were decent, but I don't know. Maybe I should get into and try some more Dua, but I don't know why. But they've never been a brand that's really been, I don't know, interesting to me. And I don't want to speak ill of them. I know a lot of people are interested in Dua fragrances, just like Zara. Besides the Rich Warm Addictive, which does have a lot of notes that do look nice, I've never been crazy about them. And I don't know. maybe one of these days I'll have to. So, um, can you compare Latafa versus Montal? They seem similar. They are Arabian houses. They are Arabian-esque in nature for certain. I don't know everything about Latafa, honestly, and I know a little bit about Montal, but Rogba fragrances, I would say they come off more sweet in my experience, but and you're kind of, some are hits, some are not. They're more affordable. Um, they're a little bit less known, less popular. Montal has been around longer, as far as I know. They have a lot bigger of a brochure. They're a little bit more quality, a little bit more luxurious, and more potent most of the time. But Rogba, Latafa fragrances do have some winners. I've spoken really highly about Rogba. It smells a little bit like Oud Bouquet, but a little bit more vanilla and spice dominated. And it has great longevity, and it's a great fragrance. I'd recommend if you do like that Oud Bouquet, and if you're looking for a gift, maybe for a lady who has, maybe I don't know if it'd be a great gift for a really young lady who probably it's her first fragrance, and maybe she wants something like Chloe or something that smells like a rosy, fruity floral. But there are, if she has a couple fragrances and she wants something a little bit different, maybe if the lady around really likes, vanilla, I think that Rogba by Latafa is excellent. You can find it for cheap. If you know where to look for it, you can get it for $35. I talked to some Arabian people, and they know where to buy it in their local shops, and they say they can get it for essentially like 20 US dollars. So it's outrageous good quality, at least the smell wise for what you're getting. I do have to say, when I got my bottle though, the little plastic cap on it split and it was already broken. So, but that doesn't matter. What matters is the juice. So Charlie Brown says, "Hi, brother. I don't like Century or any Dunhill fragrance, even Icon." Okay. Have you tried any of the new leather collection? I do have to know, Rich. I'm really interested, and I've been really tempted to blind buy the Arabian leather from the new Dunhill collection. You gotta let me know if you like that collection, because British leather looked interesting, Arabian leather looked really good, and I'm not in love with Dunhill fragrances. I'm not crazy about them, but I do think that Century stepped up the quality a little bit. I do think it was a step up, and especially because of how affordable it is. When it first came out, it was like 105, 110, $115 for the big bottle, and I got mine for like $30. and it smells really, really nice. And I like sandalwood, so to me, it's a clean, sophisticated smell that I could wear anywhere, anytime, and just enjoy sandalwood. And I could layer it with other scents. So I really like Century, and I don't know if I'm going to buy the Century Blue. I've thought about it. There's actually a flanker of it, which is probably a little bit more aquatic. I really don't know much about it, but I hope that Dunhill does a good job. I wish them the best. I was never crazy about the Icon line. I know that some people really liked it and some people really seemed against it. I always felt like it was somewhat similar to Terre de Hermes, but maybe a little bit more basic and a little bit more mass appealing, perhaps. But I always thought it was a decent fragrance, but y'all know that I wasn't crazy about it. So for the money, I think Dunhill performs well. Dunhill, yeah, they're not bad. I wouldn't put them. Y'all know how some people sometimes rank brands. Kind of like you give them a report card. You give them a F or a D or a C or a B. I probably would give Dunhill overall, from what I've seen, probably like a C plus. Hopefully that helps you understand my views. Um, I think that in the past I wasn't crazy about them, but I think recently they've stepped up a little bit, but their prices weren't right. They scared people away with the Dunhill Century because the price was too high, and they tried to make themselves maybe a little bit more of a luxury brand. And recently with their new leather collection, which is more of like almost a niche thing to do, make a leather kind of focused, more expensive, higher end kind of like leather collection. That's I don't know if that's the smartest thing to do, especially if you don't. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of offerings, to the mass market. A lot of things in the malls. Um, I don't know their customer base. They know their customers. They know who's interested in them, and maybe they thought that was a smart way to go. I don't know how successful it's doing for them. I don't know how well it's doing for them. It's going to be interesting to see in the future how if that was the smart move or not. But I don't know how y'all feel about that, but hey. That's my views on them. So far I'd give Dunhill a C plus. But y'all know that I can be critical. So for the money, okay. Do you use scented shaving creams? I do, but I'm getting more and more into it. I actually am trying to get into the wet shaving scene. Um, I have too many hobbies and not enough income, so I really don't. I'm trying to hold off on that. Once I, get get more situated, I'll be able to, really get into that scene a little bit more and have a little bit of fun. I'm not gonna go too crazy, but I'd be the guy who'd probably would only have one razor and find a good brand of blades that I like and probably stick to that. And I'm the kind of guy I'd probably have like 20 different shaving creams and aftershaves. So I don't know. I don't want to collect razors. I don't want to collect the shaving soap brushes for your face. I don't want to collect any of that. It might be nice to have one or a long one and a short one. I really don't know, but oh well. What can you say? Are there any you would suggest? Let's see here. I use Taylor of Old Bond. Love them. Sandalwood, lavender, royal rainforest, etc. I'll have to give them a check them out. I'll have to look into them. I don't own a lot. I did get some things from Sphinx, which is a really nice upcoming brand. They have more of a Arabian mass appealing kind of quality about them. So clones are theft. Yeah, I really don't want to get into that debate again. There's lots of people who are very passionate on both sides. I do think it's not very original that if you take somebody else's ideas, I do think that it's probably not the most ethical thing to do. But I've always been had my views, and the way I look at things, it's all about the consumer. So, y'all know that there are ways of, legally. I don't know about fragrances, but there's patents on things that are engineered and created. Maybe in the future we will have a way through IFRA. If a fragrance company gets too close to a fragrance DNA, let's say Baccarat Rouge 540, which lots of fragrances have cloned, maybe there'll be a way that they can prosecute them and maybe fine them or sue them or something like that. But the way I've always looked at it is I like competition. If somebody wants to make something similar, That's fine if they want to put their own twist on it, if they want to do something a little bit more unique, a little, and take that DNA that they know is working. I think that's fine. And I think if the consumers want it, the consumers win the day. But I do think that I really wish that they would focus on creativity. I really wish that the brands would not be looking for a quick, easy, a cheap buck, some green. I really wish that they would, instead of looking for some quick money and following a quick trend, that they would really make a legacy, create a beautiful fragrance that captures the emotion and the attention for people for years to come. Something like Chanel Number Five, something like Aqua di Gio, something like Sauvage. Even though I don't like Sauvage, y'all know that it's going to have a legacy. Like Creative Ventus, people are not going to, fragrance-wise, probably are never going to forget any of those fragrances. Dior Fahrenheit. Some people really don't like Dior Fahrenheit, but I think it has a real legacy behind it. I don't think that people are going to forget about Dior Fahrenheit at least anytime soon. So I know how you feel about that. With some of these companies, that when they overcharge for fragrances, sometimes I almost wish that somebody would make something similar to them and makes a better creation. And sometimes the perfumers put in years of work, they put in tons of work, but sometimes they didn't. But some of them did, and some of them put in their heart and their work and their sweat and their tears. And sometimes their fragrances get duplicated. But also a big thing is a lot of people in the fragrance community are not realizing that if it's a big brand, if it's something like Parfums de Marly probably, or any of these really big known brands, even niche brands, almost all of them are doing things with through algorithms. They might get a semi-finished product or something very close to being ready to sell to the market just by pushing a couple buttons and switching up some things, and they really don't have to spend a year, 2 years, and or have this amazing emotional story to start a fragrance. Perfumers can, they have tons of aroma chemicals available to them. They don't even have to mess with naturals. They don't have to go and source things in in a rainforest, and they don't have to deal with negotiating and trying to grow a certain type of wild, exotic Amazonian forest flower. That a lot of them are doing things like that. So they can just punch things in an algorithm, create new accords, and they'll have all the different aroma chemicals that go into the accords, and everything's already done. They know how everything works. They know how everything blends. Sure, they'll try 10 or 20 different variations to see which ones they like and how they come across on the skin, but they don't have to sit there for years. So I don't know. There's a lot that goes into clones and cloning and fragrance creation. There's a lot of details, but yeah, I do wish that brands were more focused on their legacy. It's kind of like a catch-22. If they do follow the trends, they're going to make a lot of money. They might become very popular. It might actually help them in the long run. If they focused on a legacy, they might make something that represents their brand, and if it does really well, it might up their the image of the brand. It might be successful for them. It might really help the company. But if they make an actually unique fragrance or something that really represents the brand, and they took that risk, and it's a financial blunder, it doesn't work out, it doesn't do very well for them, it could very hurt the company an awful lot and hurt the esteem and the reputation of the brand. So I don't know. They have all that information available to them. I try not to judge, but it's interesting. There's a lot to think about. Anyone ever smelled Frank's number two, Frank Los Angeles, of course? I don't think I've smelled that one. I've heard about it, but I haven't really smelled them or gotten my hands on those Frank fragrances, so I don't know. Y'all let me know if y'all have seen or heard about those fragrances. Casey says wet shaving is great. Only need one razor and one brush and a bowl. Exactly. I'm gonna be that kind of guy. I might have two brushes. I don't really want multiple razors. I don't think I'll buy even two. I probably will play around and with blades and try to find one that I like a lot. And I care more about the scents and having a lot of variety of shaving creams and aftershaves. That's mostly the fun I see in the wet shaving. I don't, I'm not going to get a lot of enjoyment about different brushes or having different razors as much, or the blades. I might fiddle around with the blades a little bit, but that's not really the fun of it to me. The fun is the fragrance. But I guess I'm a frag head in every way, shape, or form possible. So, have you smelled any GOF Trumper? No, I haven't. I've been really tempted to blind buy them. I've seen that sandalwood fragrance that they have, and I've also seen a lot of people speak very highly of. I think they have a sandalwood fragrance that's it's pretty darn popular. I've been tempted to get into those. Um, do you think they're worthwhile? Do you think they're worth the money? They do look good. Those GOF Trumpers. They do look pretty nice. They probably, as far as I can tell, are all of them single note fragrances? Are all of them just a pure note? Do they have actual like complex fragrances? I don't really know. And again, I'd like to be able to go to a boutique and smell all of these things, but I have no idea. I have no idea where they're selling those in a physical shop. I don't know if they're in England or I don't have no where they are. Australia. I have no idea. Anyways, guys, it seems like we're wrapping up. People are slowing down with the comments. Do y'all have any questions for me? Any suggestions for my channel? Again, the channel isn't growing like crazy, but I'm happy with it because it's all about the passion for me. And I'm not. Maybe I'll do some top tens. Y'all know that I'm going to do a seasonal one. I'll do a fall and a winter list. I'll probably make a top 10 date fragrances. I haven't done one of those this year. I don't really want to play the game and make another a compliment getting list. I don't really want to make like a long lasting list or a beast mode list or anything like that. But let me know if y'all really want that. I know that some people who like my content really want to see one. I probably will make another great affordable fragrance list because I have found some things I think are really good for the money. But I don't know. I don't want to do that all the time. So Casey says, "What is your scent of the day?" My scent of the day is how do you say it? Amans from the House of Vicanto. It's a really good fragrance. I was telling y'all about I got it for an amazing deal. It's more of an aquatic, musky fragrance to my nose. I'll do a review of it. It's supposed to be an extrait de parfum, but again, I got to get other people's opinions and see how they feel about it, and performance-wise. But it doesn't seem to really. I can still smell it. It's still there, but I'll do a full-length review for y'all. It's not what I would. Again, I have a hard time with aquatics. I have a hard time with citrus, especially in the dry downs, because I want there to be a bold nature. I want there to be a body and a richness. And that's not really what aquatics, at least a lot of them, give you. This one ends up being a little bit more, almost like a smoky, almost ambergris to my nose. It's kind of funny. And there's a little bit of nutmeg in the fragrance, adding a little interesting, I don't know, something to it. So I look forward to that review. I'll get it out before the fall. Maybe y'all like it, maybe y'all won't. I don't suspect that a lot of y'all will buy it. I only bought it because I got it for an amazing price, and I really wanted to have one in my collection, a Vicanto. And again, it's an offshoot, like a side company of Tenziano Terenzi, and the full retail is like 180, so they are supposed to be really good quality. And some of them have a lot of creativity behind them, but the one I got is probably considered the most basic or one of the most basic. But I got it for like $70, which is a steal. So I'm very happy about the price I got it for. Trumper Sandalwood is similar to Egoist. The fragrances aren't single notes, but are named after. Okay, I was getting confused. They named them after one thing, but there's more complexity and there's more notes than just what's on the bottle. Okay, I'll have to try that Sandalwood, and if it's similar to Egoist, that sounds really good. I'd be tempted by that. You do a lot of individual reviews, but a lot of them are stuff I will never actually smell unless I blind buy. Exactly. And I understand that. And maybe I need to do less of those. That's one reason I like to do those reviews, is because I know that not everybody is willing to blind buy weird, odd fragrances, especially from indie houses that might be considered too expensive for what they are, or too strange, or more unusual. And Exactly. Yeah. So I try to find that balance of things, making videos that are actually helpful and interesting. I'm the kind of person I'm always interested in finding and hearing about new things. If another fragrance reviewer puts out a new video of something I've never heard of or ever seen of before, a lot of people probably would avoid that video. But I'm the kind of person that's the video I'm looking for. And if somebody's constantly reviewing things that are already well known or very popular, are doing top 10 list with mostly the same fragrances, I'm the kind of guy to usually to get bored with those things. So I'm trying to find that balance for y'all of things that are interesting and new. I do. Y'all have seen a lot of my haul videos. I am going to do reviews of those fragrances, and those are things that y'all are probably far more interested in besides all this indie stuff. I have like Givenchy Play, or not Givenchy Play, Givenchy Pie Intense, and my Alton Supremacy in Heaven. And I have a lot of really good fragrances that I actually own the full bottles of. That I'm trying to run through these videos. Y'all, I think I told y'all that at one point I still have a lot of them, probably more than 50. But at one point I had over 100 videos that were already uploaded, ready to go, uh, of mostly indie stuff that I'd reviewed, and I'd like to be able to get out of that, all those videos out to y'all, and then be able to review a bunch of new things. But maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should start focusing on things that y'all are more likely or more interested in buying. So um, I do see your point there. I do see it. Trumper also does shaving products. Oh, they do. I'll have to check those out. I've heard pretty good things about them. They do seem to be high quality. Um, you know, I'll have to look into those. Are they terribly expensive? I bet they're not too bad. Most shaving soaps aren't too terribly expensive. So Casey says, give us some top fives. Okay, I'll do that. I'll think of some. Your wish is my command, my friend. But hopefully, uh, I don't know. I'll try to find that right balance between sharing indie stuff, designer fragrances, and niche. I know that for a while that I've been focusing more on indie and niche, and that's what I've kind of wanted to do. But I do know that maybe that y'all aren't as interested in those things. So um, I'll definitely try. I'll put out some more content your way. Have it your way. Whose motto is that? Have it your way. That's not Dairy Queen? I'm making myself look like a fool, but I think that's a motto for one of those fast food chain companies. Anyways, I'll do the top five list. So, any more thoughts? Any more questions? I thank y'all for hanging out with me, for having a good time, for chilling out with Benjamin here, Centaur Fragrance Channel. I really do appreciate it. It means the world, and you could be anywhere this evening, but you decide to hang out with me, and I do appreciate your friendship. And hopefully, you learned something new. So, hopefully, you heard something of value. Hopefully, you heard something that was interesting. And if you ever have any questions or thoughts or opinions, or if you know of a new fragrance, you know of a really good sale going on, or you just want to bring up a topic, even if it's something a little bit controversial like clones or theft, feel free to bring it up and we'll have a discussion and we'll have some fun. So, let me know. In the past, I've tried to open a discussion, bring up a big topic, and that hasn't worked out as much because people feel like I'm giving a speech or a presentation. I definitely want these to be down to earth and natural and flow based on what y'all want to hear and what y'all want to talk about. So, definitely feed that, add fuel to the fire. Be ready to share maybe with what you bought, what you've been interested in, and maybe some fragrance news. Sometimes y'all educate me and I don't even know. Like I probably would have heard about it, that Amouage interlude. What is it called? Like Black Iris or something. I probably would have figured out about it in a week or two, but because I'm connected with so many of y'all great fragrance people, I figured out about it a little bit later in the day. I didn't figure it out its release in like 30 seconds or something, but about a couple hours after they made the announcement, I heard about it. So I haven't smelled it yet, but it's thank y'all for helping me. It's always fun to be in the know. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap this one up. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank y'all for being fragrance enthusiasts. Thank y'all for being passionate about scents. That's what this is all about. Having some fun, smelling great, and finding new experiences. variety is kind of the spice of life. So having a lot of interesting things and always being excited and curious, I think, is what makes somebody helps them stay young, happy, and invigorated. So I think that fragrance is definitely a way to do that. But of course, have hobbies and don't get too addicted and don't spend beyond your means. And y'all know all that stuff. But I definitely think that fragrance is one of the reasons how I can express and have interest and curiosity and find a lot of entertainment in this world. It certainly means a lot to me. So thank y'all for also being passionate about fragrance. So I'll see you next time, everybody. Have a beautiful weekend. Have a fun Sunday. Y'all know what I say. Cook some amazing food. Take it easy. Spend time if you can. Y'all know responsibly what's going on in the world. Perhaps with a few friends or family, and take it easy. Enjoy life, and hope that you get to, you know, have some fun tomorrow. Or well, I don't know. For some people, Sunday is their Monday. I don't know. Maybe your weekend's already over, but have a nice one. And again, I don't know if the cicadas are coming through, but I live in the south, and I almost want to get out of here, but I don't know if y'all can hear those cicadas. This is their night song, and it's buzzing in my ears. It's super loud. Anyways, guys, have a beautiful one. Be safe, be well, and I'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and peace out.